Welcome to this second tutorial where we are going to understand how to create intents. So basically, we are going to understand how to use natural language processing and AI power of Chatteron to understand normal conversational sentences from the user. Now, before that, I'll let into go into a bit of this Chatteron demo. So this is something we have created for you to understand how to create a simple flow of a bot. Please go through this once and also the video guide up here to give you a basic understanding. So now let's go and create a jokes bot. So we are going to create a simple jokes bot which will source jokes from the Chuck Norris jokes API, right? So here it is. Right. Okay, so I've just Google Chuck Norris Jokes API and you'll come to this page. So this is a simple API that gives you two categories of Chuck Norris jokes, that is nerdy and explicit. And I'm going to use this. Okay. Now let's go back and go into the bot says and enter something like, "Hi, I am." Would you like, right? Now let's create two quick replies. So our purpose is very simple to make sure that the user there are two categories, nerdy and explicit. So the user has to choose from one of them and then he'll be given a joke according to that category. So I have created a quick reply, simple. I'm just saying that, "Hi, I'm a joke spot, which category would you like the jokes in?" And then giving him two options, nerdy and explicit. He can choose from any of those. Uh, but before that, I want to now go and create, let's go into entities. So this is what you see when you go into intents or entities for the first time, a basic a basic helping you to get started. Please read this, it is very important. I'm going to skip this because I'm going to tell you to you anyways. So what are entities? Entities are basically something which are attributes of things. So for example, if I so I have written an example here, please read this. So for example, BBQ barbecue pizza, if the user says I want a barbecue pizza, right? Barbecues owns with it a lot of valuable information that has to be used, right? So that is why you would create an entity called pizza names and put an example called BBQ farmhouse or the other names of the pizza, right? So in this case we are creating an entity wherein we will there are two categories of jokes, either they are explicit jokes or they are nerdy jokes, right? These are going to be our examples, entity examples, and our entity class is going to be jokes type. See, jokes type is the class, and nerdy and explicit are our examples. Now, why is this important? Is because explicit and nerdy contain some extra information which has to be used to serve the user better, right? So please understand entities very well. You can also go to the docs or maybe ask questions right here if you want. So here it has created a jokes type entity. Right now we go to intents. Now intents is something where if the user is saying I want pizza, you have to understand that, right? So basically in intents you have to go create an intent by putting in the intent name. So for example, if it was I want a pizza, you have to create an intent called get pizza, right? And then enter examples like I want a pizza, so that whenever a user occurs something that is somewhat related to this, the AI that we have created is able to learn from the examples and tell you that the user wants this, right? I hope I'm clear. Now this is not the example we are talking about. We are talking about jokes, right? So we have to create an intent called get jokes, and the examples are going to be something like, okay, uh, get me nerdy jokes, okay? And it automatically got annotated nerdy because we had created an entity. It got annotated. Now I want uh, explicit jokes. See, explicit also got annotated. I'll just create a few more examples. Please create at least 5 examples for this to work really fine. And also I'll create some more right? So 5 examples are pretty standard stuff. Let's just save this, and you can try it out on the right side panel here. You try it now where it is written. Try it now. I want nerdy jokes, right? Here it got the intent as get jokes and it got the entity as nerdy, right? So you can try different stuff out. Let me just try another sentence. Explicit, it gave it explicit, right? So this seems to be working. And now what you please play around with this as you want to, and create multiple intents. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to keep it very simple, so I just created one entity and one intent. Now there's just one small detail that I'd like to tell you before I move forward. So I want to bring your focus here. See, this is the parameters. So when you created an entity called jokes type, it also created and automatically created a parameter that is jokes type. The same name, the name is same, but right. So what does a parameter do? Basically, if you have played around with the platform, you must have understood that we allow users to, we allow developers to take in context as parameters and then pass them through APIs, right? If not, don't worry, I'll do all of that inside this tutorial. So parameters are something important. So as I said, entities are some important information. You're passing that important entity information into parameters, and then you can call it in your APIs, right? So let's don't worry, let's just go into this right now. You can also change the name of the parameter if you want to, but let's go with jokes type itself. Now in this example, what happens if the user says I want a joke, right? uh, or maybe let's go back to the pizza example. If we created, let's say, if there are two kinds of pizza, barbecue and farmhouse, and you created an intent called get pizza, and you added example like I want a barbecue pizza, I want give me a farmhouse pizza, and so on. Then what if the user just entered I want a pizza? The intent is right. The intent is that he wants a pizza. So the intent that will be fired, it will be get pizza. But you won't get the entity, or you won't get the parameter that is the pizza type, right? So what you need to do is to click on required here. So required basically means that it is required. This parameter is required for the user to move forward in the flow, right? It's as simple as that. So for example, if you are a pizza company, if you are a restaurant, and if a user says I want a pizza, you need to know the name of the pizza he wants, right? So you can click on required and then define the prompts. So the prompt is going to be uh, what which pizza do you want, right? But in this case, this is not a pizza one, so it's going to be a jokes one. So I'm going to ask the user which joke type do you want. Okay, I'm going to ask him this with the answers nerdy and explicit being accepted as reasonable answers. Okay, now we have done with the intent and entity. Now let's go back and take a look at the user says. Okay, so the user says has all these clickable NLU, save action, skip user says, and end module. For the purpose of this bot, we need NLU intent because we just created an intent that was get jokes. So when you click here, it will give you a drop down. You can click on get jokes here, right? Now we also we created nerdy and explicit as examples, and we also had them as quick replies, right? So basically here we give you an option of connecting intents to buttons and quick replies as well, right? So basically this is a very simple way of connecting intents to buttons and quick replies, though I'm not just going to use this right now because I want to make this bot very simple. And then you collect it to new 002, and so you're creating a new module here, right? Click on submit. Here is the new module that we just created. Now let me go back and just delete the quick replies, because I think I don't want to complex it for you right now. Now, so basically the bot is saying, the when you hit on get started, the bot will say, hi, I'm jokespot, which category would you like the jokes in, right? And the user then will say I want explicit jokes, I want nerdy jokes or something like that. And with that, this intent will be fired and connecting it to module number 002, right? So this green arrow is basically an intent, that is get jokes, right? Now we go into bot say. So this is something that will be replied when the intent has been fired, when the get jokes intent has been fired, right? Now here is where the API is actually coming to use. Until now we have seen only static text being passed, right? Now let's see how dynamic text works. So dynamic text is is something where you can actually pass APIs and use the parameters you collected, and basically uh, externally, you can either get data from external databases or put data into external databases through this section, right? So remember, I created this. I just copy pasted here, right? uh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Let me just get this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here it is. We are limiting it to nerdy or something else. So this is that was the API. Now what I've done is I've going to enter the query param. So everything after the question mark is the query param, and it was limit 2, right? Here it is, and then there was an array starting up. Now whenever you want to use the parameters you have got from the user from the flow, what you're going to do is just double make two curly brackets, and you're going to see a drop down. See, jokes type, and then press enter, and then closing the array. So this is exactly the API we just saw, right? It was same till here random, and after that limit 2 and nerdy explicit. This I have passed in query params, okay, not in headers, in query params. So this works now. Now what I want to do next is, because this is not a non-contextual param, this is contextual parameters. What you need to understand is that you will need to enter sample JSON, because at this time if we hit this API there is nothing going to happen, because jokes underscore type has no value right now, right? So we are going to use the sample. We have to put in a sample JSON. It is very simple to create a sample JSON. Just so for example, you have to just replace the parameter value with a possible value. So for example, in our case it can be nerdy, right? So I just replaced it, and here is the JSON that was returned to me. I'm going to enter it in the sample JSON. You can do the same thing on Postman as well. Now you what you have to do is simple. You have to just choose joke, right? Here it is. Value.joke is appearing in the selected keys. Now I'm just going to add the joke. Here it is. Value.joke, right? Simple, similar. I just did the double curly, right? It is coming again, right? Very simple. So sorry, I got it deleted here, right? Pretty simple stuff, pretty standard. I'll repeat again. Put in the base URL here. The type is get. Put in the query param limit 2. So here was the jokes type. So if the user enters nerdy, it will pass nerdy. If the user enters explicit, it will pass explicit, right? Then you enter a sample JSON. It will create into a very beautiful JSON response. Choose the key you want to send. That was value.joke, and then put in double curly brackets and choose value.joke from the drop down. Very simple. Click on submit. Now basically we have now completed the bot. The only thing that is left is uh, you know deploying it to Messenger. Let's do that. I clicked on deploy to Messenger from here, right? Deploy to Messenger. Then I click on Facebook Messenger. Now basically what I'm going to do is, yeah, it's got synced. Now what I'm going to do is to look for my page. uh, right, here it is, jokes page I had created. I'm going to subscribe it here. It's going to show loading, and it's when it says unsubscribe, that means it is subscribed, okay? So now let's go and search for the jokes page I had created. Here it is. Oops, I have already done some testing on it, so I'm going to delete it first. Here, this is important for me to it's important for you to understand, so that's why I deleted everything. Yeah, so this is messenger .com, and this is whatever happens here will also happen inside the messenger app, so don't worry. So this is the get started button automatically created by the chatron platform. Once you click on get started, once the end user clicks on get started, it will show this message: hi, I'm a jokes bot. Which category would you like the jokes in? Okay, so I'll just type in I want nerdy jokes. See, it gave me a joke, right? Now let's say now I'll ask something else. uh, Give me a explicit joke, right? So now it will process the sentence and reply back with a joke. For some, the left testicle is larger than the right one. For Chuck Norris, each testicle is larger than the other one. Right. So this is how it works. It's very simple. We have created a very powerful platform for you as a developer to create a chatbot on. I promise you, if you pay attention in these videos, you'll be able to create a bot in less than 15 to 20 minutes. Right, and that's through a AI based bot with external API linkages. Right. So just go ahead, and also the AI is also very powerful in terms that is able to understand things that it has never seen as well. So obviously it has to have some connection with the thing. So whenever whatever examples you give, if the AI thinks that the end user is saying something similar, or he or she actually is trying to is actually asking for the same thing, it will respond back in a very good way. So for example, let's try out we had put in like 5 examples. Let's see what those examples were. Get me nerdy jokes. I want you laugh on nerdy jokes. I'm sorry for the spelling error, but yeah, so these were the examples we put in. Let's put in something completely different. So something like, I think I would like to see to laugh on some nerdy jokes from you. Yep. Let's see what happens. See, it was able to respond back with an answer, right? So this is, I said nerdy joke, it gave me a nerdy joke, right? So our AI is very very powerful, and I would urge you to go forward and try things out. Chatbots are really really exciting, and I believe it's going to be huge, especially in 2017 and 18. So please do give it a try. If you have any questions, please click on this and send your messages in. You can go to the video guide, or you can also look at the docs. Have a great day, and thank you so much.